Real question here is, how does one approach a game where one has just scored 8 goals? What am I supposed to say here? Oh yeah, we could have done better? No. 8 goals? Come on now, we should have done better. No. We did good? Yes. But it's a bit simplistic, isn't it? Hello and welcome, buddy. How are you all doing? We're here today talking about the Bayern versus Schalke 8-0 game. Like, bro, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. At one point, I was like, okay, good. And then I was just like, bro, this is just funny now. This is just funny now. And it's Schalke, so I kind of expected that. Because Schalke is a team that is... That's weird, alright? You know, last season, obviously, they struggled a lot. But they're a team that has quality in their squad, but it's just terrible. Management, terrible. The higher-ups in the club, terrible. Coach, terrible. But they have the quality in the squad, so you're always like, who knows? But my prediction was obviously a 4-0. We got twice that. We got an 8-0 victory. Good thing, the thing that I like the most about this victory is not so much the goals that we scored, but the goals that they didn't score. That we have that 0. We looked very, very good defensively. Zule looked absolutely brilliant. Boateng looked brilliant. And Lucas Hernandez was excellent. You know, his crosses perhaps weren't as great, but like defensively, he was a rock solid. So from that perspective, I'm just like, perfect, like absolutely perfect. Like our attack, obviously they scored goals. All of our attackers scored a goal. You know, from my starting 11, Lewandowski scored. Gnabry scored three. A hat-trick on the first game of the season. My goodness. Sané finally got his goal, and Thomas Müller scored a goal as well with Lewandowski's Rabona assist. So I'm just like, okay, perfect. Good. And then the substitutions happen. Musiala scores. Amazing. Goretzka, first half, scores too. It's like, okay. I kind of expected him to score. I think in my prediction I said that Goretzka would score and Sané would score because obviously those are the two former Schalke player. So I kind of expected them to score. You know, it's kind of like those typical football story thing where you score against your former team. So I kind of expected that, to be completely honest. But we just kept going. It's like, bro. At one point, it just seemed like everyone that plays for us will score. And I'm like, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Like Gnabry, hat-trick. Lewandowski, his goal. Müller, his goal. Sané, his goal. Musiala, his goal. Goretzka, his goal. Like 8 goals. Kimmich with 2 assists. Kimmich, in my opinion, honestly, in the first 15 minutes alone, could have had 3 assists. Lewandowski didn't look that sharp today, but again, it's okay. You know, his match sharpness, his fitness, so on and so forth. It's okay. It's the first game of the season. I'm not too pressed about that. But Lewandowski could have easily had 2 or 3 goals in the first half alone. Ultimately, it had to boil down to a penalty kick, but like he could have definitely had, you know, goals from in play as well. He was just not that great today. In terms of, in that perspective, you know, in terms of scoring goals, but I'm okay with that. As I said, I'm absolutely okay with that, because for me, the way I see it is I want them to be involved, and that was the key thing for me. I wanted them to be involved in the play so that they can get their sharpness, you know, during the next couple of games and so on and so forth. We've got the European Super Cup coming up as well, the German Super Cup coming up as well. So we've got these games coming up where there's actually a trophy on the line. I mean, the German Super Cup, nobody cares about that. It's like a friendly cup, whatever. I much rather prefer the Telecom Cup to be complete, or the Audi Cup to be completely honest. But it's a trophy to be won, so let's win it. 8-0. I'm happy. There's honestly not much more to be said about that. Then I'm happy. I like it. I very much like it. Like defensively, we looked rock solid, which I'm very much happy about. Like in the first, I think it was the first 10 minutes or so, we played very interestingly. Like we played Lucas Hernandez essentially played as our winger, because Gnabry went, you know, from the left side. He was playing on the left at the beginning in the first 10 minutes or so. He went, you know, from being on the wing, he went very much centrally as like a number 10 role. So we kind of like started off with you know, a back 3 essentially in Boateng, Zule, and Pavard a little bit further forward, but not that much further forward. And then we had Kimmich on the left and Goretzka on the right. And then we just had like a front 5 almost, with like Sané, Lewandowski at top, and then Müller and Gnabry very much centrally, and then Lucas Hernandez on like as like a left winger. So we very much played like through like Lucas Hernandez on the left wing, because Gnabry just played on the inside, so Lucas Hernandez had all that space to run on the left wing, with Gnabry hugging the touchline on the right wing. So that was very, very fascinating, which is why Lucas Hernandez was on the ball so often. But then like we switched it up, and then Gnabry went a lot further wide, and we stopped playing so narrow. It worked playing narrow at the beginning, and I think it just confused the Schalke defense because at first we were like, okay, they're all centrally. We can focus on that, and then like once everything went a lot further wide and like the defense spread out a lot more, it was like, what do we do now? Like, what do we do now? And obviously towards the latter half of the game, we played a lot more narrow again, which is where most of our goals came from. Like, you know, centrally, like most of our goals came through runs in the center because we basically switched it up quite a lot, like being narrow and then being wide, and like their defense was just all over the place because they couldn't really adjust that quickly. So like they would be all narrow, they would be all wide, and like we'd be very narrow and just run through the center. And then vice versa, you know, we'd go through this wings and whatnot when they would be very narrow. So it just shows you that like we adjusted very well. Like our wingers, obviously, they're very flexible, they're very variable. So that's also very good to see. Obviously, we all know that already anyway. But like, it's just good to see how quickly and how many times in this game they adjusted, which obviously caused a lot of problems. So I thought very good game. My man of the match, I mean, Grabby scored 3 goals, so technically I should give him the man of the match. But my man of the match would probably be Kimmich. I'd say probably Kimmich. Kimmich got 2 assists, I said, but like he could have easily had more. But I think he just controlled the game from minute 1 to minute 90. And but like if realistically if I'm getting a player man of the match, like it would have to be Gnabry because Gnabry's got 3 goals, all right. But I thought Sané was excellent as well. I thought the whole team was excellent. I didn't think there was any player that was necessarily bad. There were some that weren't obviously as needed as much. You know, for example, Pavard. I didn't think he had a bad game. He just wasn't on the ball that much. He initiated the counter for Gnabry's second goal. Yeah, for Gnabry's second goal. He initiated that counter, of course, but like he wasn't on the ball too often. And that's because, you know, we on the right side we played quite wide with Sané, and then later on Gnabry. So like he didn't really need to like bomb up the pitch all often, and defensively you know, the few things that he had to do, he did very well. But my two men of the match would go to Kimmich and Gnabry. That's my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all think. I'll see you all in the next one, everyone. Until then, have a nice day. Peace out, and not just 2020. Let's aim for 2021 too.